Jessica from expressionsvinyl.com, and today I want to show you my trick of cutting without a mat on my Silhouette Cameo. So I like to cut vinyl without a mat, and I like to save my mat for other things like cardstock that does require a mat. But vinyl has this paper backing that can act as your cutting mat. So this is adhesive vinyl, and you can use the same technique with the heat transfer vinyl and use this clear carrier sheet as your cutting mat. So let's go to our machine and I'll show you how to set this up. Over here, your roller is usually in this position right here. I've moved mine in to the next spot, and you've got this roller over here. And you just want to make sure that your vinyl fits in between those two rollers. And push load. So if I were cutting scraps, I would want to use a mat because they're not going to fit in between my rollers here. So let's go over to our program and I'll show you how to set that up. Okay, so here in the program, this is where we're going to want to turn some things on and off. So up in the right hand corner, if I click on this little paper, it brings up my page setup screen. And from here, I'll want to choose if I'm going to use a cutting mat or not. So right here it says cutting mat, and if you click this arrow, it'll bring down a menu. And you can choose what size of mat you're using, or at the top, you can choose that you are not using a mat. And so it says none. And then at the bottom here, I like to turn on my show cut border. If I turn that off, you don't see it. But if you turn it on, you can see this red line around my design or around my page. So I've got it that I'm cutting a 12 by 12, and my border will show me that I can't go all the way to the bottom of the page or it's going to cut off. Now, if I were using a mat, I could use that little bit of space, but for this design, I don't need it. Okay, so we've got this ready, and now we're ready to send it to our machine. So I'm going to go up here in the right-hand corner and push send. I'm using glossy vinyl. I've got my ratchet blade. Cut setting is on a 2, speed at 5, and force at 4. So I'm ready to send this. I'm going to click the send button. Okay, so we cut without a mat. Let's see how that goes. We'll unload it and weed out a bit here. And it cut beautifully, and you can see that it didn't cut all the way through that backing. So you want to have your settings just right so it doesn't cut through. Okay, so I want to show you an example of scraps. See how short my scraps are? They're not going to fit through my machine very well. So I would want to use a mat if I'm using scraps. You also want to use a mat if you're cutting cardstock. Cardstock doesn't have any kind of backing, and so when you put it in your machine without a mat, it's going to make a mess. So I hope this video is helpful for you learning when a mat is necessary and when it's not. If you have any questions, leave them down below. And if you liked this, be sure to give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Thanks, guys.